There's a few hands over here. Yep, they do. Here we go.
Questions? Right. My question really was that there is a lot of conversation here about how to develop women who are already in the companies, and it is quite clear that Measure Progress generally miss a large number of women in the industry. And Oxford University is doing a lot about this, and there's a number of people like me here in the audience who will be looking to change our careers completely and go into Measure Progress one day, or into companies who are very heavily based on infrastructure. And how should the companies be prepared for it? So it's not just developing the existing employees who are already within the culture, who already understand, and who can get accepted much easier within the company. It's bringing in new knowledge, new power, new people, and new problems with it. So what would be the response? What do you think should be done about this?
So is the question how to foster a new wave of women into to larger major programs? Is that it? Yes. Which pre-tells, therefore, how to get them more into engineering and other such things. Okay, that's your question. Well, what I've seen in a lot of universities in the United States is that they're starting to make engineering schools actually more women-friendly, which basically means they're going out there and saying, we want you in here. They're going and finding women that are, or girls, whatever, who are getting very high mathematical scores in their SATs. They're actively recruiting. Oh, we know that you said you wanted to do history, but your SAT scores, why don't you come to engineering? And they bring out women professors, they talk, they're starting to actively recruit, not just the guys coming back. They're saying, well, wait a minute, why not engineering? So there's an engagement that is occurring in some of the elite universities, which is to say, well, there's no reason why you shouldn't be here. And I think that some of the women in my age group that thought about doing engineering, some of them have, some of them said, it's, I don't like the male students, I don't want to be part of that. And that kind of culture is a little bit shifting. So now they're actively recruiting, which will help some of your pipeline.
Is Bechtel doing anything around that?
I was thinking, if I can just take from a slightly different perspective, as I understand what you're saying is that you're imagining that there's potential for kind of organ rejection. If you have senior women who haven't necessarily got the traditional background coming into organizations in the leadership, in leadership positions, how is the company that they're coming into going to manage themselves in order so that leader can be effective? It's a very, very, very good question, and it's not just, I think, necessarily women. It's or even people who've got diversity. I think it's generally bringing a new type of leadership with challenging a status quo. With a company like Bechtel, we've been around, as you know, for 118 years. And one of the best things about our company is also one of our biggest challenges. One of the best things about our company is that we have very, very strong culture, very strong values, covenants. We've worked together. I've been with Bechtel for 30 years. We've worked together for a long time. But that does mean that there's potential for groupthink. And what we really focus on is bringing in that new thinking at the right and engaging with it at the right leadership levels. But I think the key is to recognise that there's a real risk that there will be organ rejection, and that the new person just won't be able to integrate with the machine that's already ticking. So what we do is, one thing is we recognise it, and we assign a senior person to do the kind of sponsorship that Chris was talking about. So that the individual coming in can have conversations that are completely confidential, open, transparent, tough, and we just work through, because there are going to be issues. There's no doubt about it. No doubt there will be issues. So we just identify them, talk about them, address them.
Also, I think as we develop more inclusive organisations, there becomes a pull for diversity. People want others to come in from outside because they're excited about having new ideas, new thinking, and so on. Now, you can't do that overnight, but you can if you create an inclusive culture, and it's not particularly limited to gender. You create an inclusive culture. People want to have the variety that comes from having a truly diverse organisation.
How does it look from the Ministry of Defence perspective?
Well, I mean, government has really struggled with this. We've taken in lots of very, very talented people from elsewhere and really struggled for them to make a difference. I think we are getting a bit better. I think there is something in what Chris says about what's the culture like. You know, the civil service tradition is sort of taken in people and said, right, now we need to make them a civil servant, which obviously is not really going to get us the result we intended. But also I do think the other thing that we've got now is we've got a bit of a critical mass. So I think there's something about time here, you know.
Okay.